Prime Minister, you're in Scotland today, you're here to defend the Union. Does it ever cross your mind that history may well judge that you were the Prime Minister and it was on your watch that the Union fell apart?
Well, obviously I don't want that to happen. I care about our United Kingdom. I want to do everything I can to help keep the United Kingdom together. But there is a plain fact we have to deal with, which is that the SNP have a majority in the Scottish Parliament, and it's their policy to break up the United Kingdom and to take Scotland to independence. And it seems to me vital that we put this question as promptly as we can in front of the Scottish people and allow them to decide. Now, I dearly hope that the Scottish people will decide to stay with the United Kingdom. It's been an extraordinary success over 300 years, and I think it's got all of the strengths and the flexibility and brilliance to be a success in the next 300 years. But this has to be a decision for the Scottish people, and we need that decision to be made.
You're going to lead from the front in this, in your speech today in Edinburgh. It makes that absolutely clear. Will you debate with Alex Salmond, head-to-head, live on television, the way you did with Gordon Brown and Nick Clegg at the last election?
Well, I haven't given that issue consideration because the debate hasn't yet been fixed. First, I think the first step we've got to take is fix a date.
You're not feared of them, are you?
I'm certainly not feared of anybody. So the first thing to do is fix the date.
So if you're leading, you would debate.
Fix the question, then we can hold the debates.
We're definitely going to get a referendum, though, aren't we?
I hope we are. Look, I think we've got to. I think it is bad for Scotland to have this cloud of uncertainty hanging over her future. I think it's absolutely legitimate, given the Scottish people voted for the SNP and gave it that majority, to put the question, to hold the debate, to make that decision. I dearly hope that it is a decision to stay within the United Kingdom. But I don't come here to Scotland today to say somehow Scotland can't make it on her own. There are examples of countries the same size or smaller than that can make a success of independence. I don't say that argument. The argument I make is we are better off together. We will be richer together. We will be stronger together. We'll be fairer together. There's an incredible sense of solidarity in the United Kingdom, that when one part of our kingdom is hit by bad weather, floods, drought, economic dislocation, we are there for each other. And I think there is a really positive, strong, optimistic argument to be made for the United Kingdom. And I want to be one of the people who
accept that Alex Salmond and the SNP have a mandate for the referendum?
They have a mandate to hold a referendum, and I've always said, very consistently, if the Scottish people want to have a referendum on independence, then you cannot stand in the way of that referendum, and indeed I'm offering Alex Salmond the chance to hold the referendum.
They also have a mandate to hold the referendum in the second half of the Parliament, which dovetails with their 2014 timescale. Therefore, if you're respecting the mandate that Mr Salmond won, you should respect the date of his choice as well.
Well, I think we need to agree between us what the date is, and also we need to be clear that...
With respect, he has the mandate to hold the referendum, and he was absolutely clear at the election last year it would be in the second half of the Parliament. Are you seriously suggesting that you can, as UK Prime Minister, could say, I'm going to disrespect that mandate, you're not having a referendum in 2014?
Well, Alex Salmond first wanted a referendum in 1993, he wanted one in 2010. He said a lot of dates.
It was absolutely clear.
I think the key...
Are you going to disrespect that date?
I'm going to discuss, and Michael Moore is going to discuss with the First Minister about the right date for that referendum. I think there's a strong case for getting on and asking the question. The Scottish people I speak to want to have this debate. They want to have this question answered. There is a cloud hanging over Scotland's future while it is being left.
The UK government have raised the issue of illegality, and they have said that if the Scots Parliament goes on its own and tries to organise this referendum, it is not legal, it would be struck down by the courts. Can I take it from that it is the position of the UK government that should Mr Salmond go ahead and hold an independence referendum, but there's no agreement with Westminster, you will strike it down in the courts?
Well, I think your question, if I might put it to you, has a slight strange way of putting itself, which is, I don't make the law of the country. We are all governments under the rule of law. We have to accept the rule of law.
Who physically would stop Alex Salmond in the Scots Parliament holding a referendum?
The point is this, that the legal position has now been set out. And this is a law that was passed long before I made it into the Westminster United Kingdom.
Who would physically strike it down?
Well, the problem if you try to do something which is illegal is that anyone can strike it down.
Would you strike it down?
Well, I hope we don't get to that position.
But would you strike it down?
Well, I want Scotland to have a referendum that is legal, that is fair, and that is decisive.
Would you strike it down?
I don't think we'll get remotely to that position because we are saying to the Scottish Government, we will give you the power to hold a legal referendum. Now, surely that is what everybody wants.
One final question. You're clear there that you want to see that referendum, you want to see it on a legal basis. It's not going to be multi-option though, is it?
No, I think it has to be a straightforward question because there is a question here, which is, does Scotland want to stay within the United Kingdom? Do you want to be part of this?
Or does Scotland wish to be an independent country?
Or does Scotland want to be independent? That question has to be answered. Once that question is answered, if the answer, and I hope it is the answer, is we want to stay in the United Kingdom, then of course we can have another conversation about how do we best make the United Kingdom work for all of its constituent parts. What is the right level of devolution? How do we make sure that our shared home it really works for all of us? But you can't have that question answered at the same time as an independence referendum. So to me, it's clear it has to be one straightforward question, a decisive, fair referendum for the Scottish people to decide their future.
Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.